have overhead. You have to live under capitalism, so I do need that additional income. But this year I am trying to move toward being able to monetize my social media to a degree that I can do it full time with a single income.
So what would you want that to look like for you? I mean, is it just like being online debating? Do you want to have like your own daily show? Like what would that look like for you if you did make that shift?
It would be a combination of things. I would love to debate daily. It is something that I do really enjoy, but I would also love to go really more into content creation, especially with an educational lens for feminism, as well as socialism. And then I would love to have a podcast. So I'm very much open to what lanes I allow my creative ideas to flow through.
I understand. Okay, I'm gonna run this one by you real quick, and this is just a sidebar. I just want your opinion. I want to know what you think when I say this. So I was thinking about creating a podcast at one point, right? And for me, it was more so about dealing with the like the red pill ideology and the incels and all this other stuff, like just fighting back from what we currently see and how things are. And so I wanted to have a podcast geared towards like young men to like help teach emotional intelligence and, you know, acceptance, blah, 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 blah. Right. And that's what I was thinking. And I was like, yeah, you know, everyone's being red pilled. I'm going to be the blue pill podcast. What comes to your mind when you think of that?
On Friday, I actually did launch a website, and I also launched a weekly podcast I'm going to be doing, which is the Painted the Roses Red podcast. And the first kind of deep dive we're going to do is into the manosphere, because I have been watching a lot of their content, like Clavicular. I just watched the documentary on Netflix, and it is truly terrifying. The things that they are producing to young men. And as someone who is the mother of a son, like I am truly terrified of what influence this content would have on someone, because I do think it is a huge grift. And I do think in order for it to be successful, men have to be unhappy and single. Yep. So they have to maintain this anger, this isolation, this loneliness that they have in order to keep them within the manosphere and extract their money from it. Yeah. So something to actually help them, I think, would be amazing.
I'm glad you said that, because see, the only reason I really had that question, and like I trust your opinion, Kenzie, and my wife told me, she was like, oh, don't do it. The first thing I think of is like, you know, the blue pill, like Viagra. And so if you didn't immediately think of that, then I'm like, okay, maybe I can get away with it.
Well, maybe your wife has a little more insight than I do. Maybe we could work on the title. Yeah. The concept in itself, no. I think young men really also need to be liberated from the ideas of gender just as much as women do.
Yeah. So let's dig a little deeper into that, because I think I don't think there's enough being done to fight the harmful ideology when it comes to like the gender norms that people have to conform to, and it leads to the way that men try to fit into that, and then leans into like toxic masculinity. And you just mentioned the manosphere, but you know, red pill, black pill, incel, all of this other stuff, and it becomes something that is not only harmful to them, but of course to everyone, specifically women, right? And so you see these young men, or men period, where we're already more emotional in a lot of different ways, because we don't have the ability, you know, we don't have a higher EQ. We don't necessarily know how to deal with our like our emotions, our feelings, and properly communicate. And those type of people are the people that you talk to on a normal basis to actually help women. So one, why are you willing to put yourself in the line of fire dealing with the people who like are openly misogynist, openly like hateful, and think, you know, men are better than women? But like, why are you willing to engage with them? And are you trying to do something to help other women to understand like how they need to engage?
Yeah, so I am a big fan of intellectual violence. So that is kind of a personal driver for me. I do really like to spar when it comes to intellectual ideas. And I am looking for ops who have that intellectual capacity to actually challenge me in my position. But I think it's also an act of like gender performance for women, that you can be assertive, you don't have to be polite, you can be strong, and you can be confident in your own position and your opinions, and that's okay. Like there's nothing, you don't have to shrink, you don't have to accommodate, you don't have to placate. You can do these things and stand in your position and be just as feminine as whatever patriarchy has prescribed. So it's a combination of my need for intellectual violence as well as breaking the ideas of what, like, how women ought to act.
What got you to the point where you started to understand like it was necessary? Because a lot of time people think that when dealing with certain people, period, but more so men, like you have to lead with kindness, kind of coddle them and like try to address their feelings and things like that. But I've seen you stand firm and stand strong and rooted in who you are, and not bend to them, not be unreasonable. It's not a situation where it's like, oh, you know, I whatever, but you don't let them shift who you are. And they get to a point where either they're willing to conform because they get your point, or they just crash out and run. But
Mm.
what made you so confident to say like, this is how I have to do it?
That was kind of like a surprise for me myself. So when it comes to the idea of gender, I think there's two ways that people learn gender. Gender is obviously like a societal construct that I think, especially for women, you experience misogyny in order to push you into how the patriarchy wants you to behave. But it's also given to you an example from your family. And when it comes to my family, the women in my family are quote unquote very masculine.
Mm.
They are very strong. They are very strong willed. I was very much raised in an environment like, don't need a man, don't take anyone's shit. And so, me just obviously like taking that on as this is a gender prescription on how being a woman was performed for me as an example, I embodied that. And then when I did it on my platform, I just didn't realize that other people hadn't had that example to the degree that I had.
Mm.
And I'm sure you get DMs all the time of like, thank you so much. You know, this meant so much to me. I, you know, have been struggling with these thoughts, and you showed me that these realizations like have kind of made me feel better about myself. And that was something that I realized, that a lot of women were kind of vicariously living through me, in the event that like, I wish I were that confident. I wish I were that outspoken. So I didn't realize that that was happening until people told me. I was just being myself.
Yeah, and I think like that's something that is vital and critical as far as being able to put out things that people really engage with, right? I've said this a lot of times. People really want to actually engage in with like who you are as a genuine person, not just like this persona or you know whatever. And I've told people like, hey, you got to be authentic if you want people to connect with you. And
You do.
it seems like that's what you're about. Have you ever had any type of struggles as far as saying like, well, maybe I should do this a little bit this way, or maybe I should pull back? Like, have you ever had any type of doubts as far as who you are?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I will say, like, having the personality that I have in society is not popular.
Mm-hmm.
I have very much, especially in sales, very much struggled as someone who is, I would say, very feminine presenting.
Mm-hmm.
I very much have leaned into a lot of patriarchal prescriptions on how women should present themselves. But personality wise, I'm very much classified as masculine, and that's not popular for women to be. You get all of those classic labels. You're a bitch, you're unreasonable, you're demanding, you're high maintenance, all of those things. And so, yeah, like when you do receive that hate and hostility, it's natural to like question yourself and wonder if you should adjust.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of people go through. And it's funny because I was having this conversation the other day with a friend, and I said, like, a lot of people look to get acceptance and conform. And a lot of times when you're looking to try to appease everyone, you lose who you are. And once you lose who you are, then you're not going to want to keep doing the things that you do. It's not going to actually mean much to you, and it just shifts everything. So I do think that, like, it's super important to be firmly grounded in who you are, what you want to do, and those things. So, Kenzie, what do you actually want to do? Right? We've talked about who you are, how you started, what grounds you, but like, what are you trying to do right now? Because you are multi-talented as far as the ability to have any type of conversation. Like, I don't think I've ever heard you. I know you mentioned, like, when you first started, you weren't necessarily confident in the religious space and things like that. But I've
Yeah.
never heard you have a conversation where you weren't just like amazing. So what do you actually want to do? Because it seems like you have so many options.
That means a lot because I mean I do hear that from people like I've never heard you lose, I've never heard you stumble. Like it happens all the time where I look back and I think like, wow, like that wasn't great. I should have thought about this. Oh, here's like a blind spot of things I don't know. Um, it's kind of ironic. I feel like I make fun of ops a lot for like a Dunning-Kruger kind of thing because they're so confident and they know so little.
Mm.
Um, and I feel that when I started social media, I was more confident then than I am now because I just realized how the vastness of what I don't know. I feel like my history is really weak. I feel like I'm not the greatest on philosophy. And so that's where I'm kind of at right now is like, and even when it comes to like gender theory and feminism, there's still so much I don't know. I have a whole bookshelf. Like my reading list is just overwhelming. And so that's kind of where I'm at is I would love to monetize my platform to where I can invest full time, but also continue investing in my education because I see like how much I have missed.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a huge thing. And especially if you want to be in this space and you want to continue to grow and things like that, you have to actually be willing to invest in learning, growing, and putting in the time to evolve, right? And so I want to take this opportunity to stop for half a second and say, chat, not only does Kenzie have to invest in herself, but we need you to invest in Kenzie, right? So while Kenzie is here, let's make sure we're showing Kenzie some love. Yes, I need you tapping the screen. Yes, I need you sharing the live. Yes, I need you knocking out the daily gift goal. But please, please, please make sure we're taking care of Kenzie. Kenzie's coins isn't even at 2,000 coins yet. Guys, please, please, please show Kenzie some love. Let's make sure that we are appreciating Kenzie while she is here. So if you could, please take the time, show her some love. And we have Kenzie's pay links running in the link tree. I'm sorry, in the poll. We have Kenzie's pay links running in the poll. So make sure you are hitting those pay links. Show Kenzie some love. Show Kenzie some appreciation. You know, if you want to get a message across or maybe even a question, make sure you are showing Kenzie some love, not only with the coins, not only with the follows, but make sure you're hitting Kenzie's pay links. All right, Kenzie. So I want to kind of shift to this because it kind of trails off from what I was just saying. You're in this space, right? And this whole social media space is interesting And when you start talking about like monetizing, and you start talking about like being able to utilize this to sustain your life and like drive and go into your passion, things along those lines. The issue with this is that there's a discrepancy, and we can talk about the gender wage gap, yes, but it's super evident on these social media platforms. And I'm not just talking about like the amount of support that men get versus women, but you can take a look at like the amount of views that women get versus men, and it's super evident to me, right? I've seen oftentimes some of the most intelligent, some of the most productive conversations, like some of the best people that I've watched in these different spaces, it's always women. Like I have a do not debate list, and it's 3 women where I'm like, I would never. I'll debate anyone else. I don't know if I'll win, but I'm willing to take them on. But there's 3 people I'm like, Why do you think that it's still so prevalent, even in these online spaces where women men get overwhelmingly so much more support than women, while women provide so much more? And how do we address that?
It's the same when it comes to like sports, is that men just prefer watching other men. And I think this has to go with the conditioning of masculinity. When it comes to masculinity, it's really interesting how much men need male validation, adoration, and that if they enjoy a woman's content or feel like a woman is doing well, then that somehow emasculates men. And so, yeah, it's really interesting, the men that I have talked to, when they're like, I love watching women's basketball because it's so much more entertaining. They pass more, they run plays more. It's not about like doing, hot shots or showboating. And then other men make fun of him because he enjoys watching women's basketball. So I think it has to go again with that gender conditioning, that men just feel better watching other men perform excellence, because if they watch women, then somehow that makes them less of a man.
Okay, so how do we deal with that for women, right? I'm not gonna say like do the heavy lifting for men. I can figure that out, but it seems like a lot of women struggle with getting through the proverbial glass ceiling. And I know it's a reality as far as where we are in society, because no matter how far we come, when we talk about the patriarchal system, if you're not a white man, then you're less than, right? But it, I've thought about this a lot, and I try to do my best to, if I can ever like lend myself my voice, whatever I can do. Like I'll go up on different women's panels, and I'll say, hey, I don't want to talk. I just want to see if I can sit here and boost your live, or I'll try to like host and all this other stuff. But women who are in these spaces, it seems like at times they hit a wall and they get so discouraged that they want to give up. Like, how do we help those women not only give up, but somehow push past this glass ceiling?
I don't have the answer, because I've asked that myself. I've had chats with Athena, who's a fantastic creator, and we always talk about like sister imposter in our head, like, oh, do we deserve these views? Do we deserve these follows? And so I think I mean, if you have insight, I would love to hear it. I do think community is really important, especially a strong community of creators. And then I think really just kind of, like you said, reinventing and being creative, so that you can still feel it's something personal and connected to yourself, but really just continuing about being passionate. I wish I had a better answer. I don't.
No, and I know how tough of a question that is, because like if you had the answer, then like you've already solved like the other societal issues that we have, right? Because it's
Right.
it's a microcosm here on like social media, but it's like a reality throughout society, right? But it's something that I think about often, because for myself, I enjoy being around people that are way smarter than me. And so when I try to make sure that I'm placing myself in these spaces around people that's way smarter than me, I end up watching people like Ari, like Sean, like you. Whenever I see a Dorna live, like I'm sprinting to actually be around and listen to them. But then I get into these spaces and it's double digits, maybe sometime, 3 digits. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, these people need to hear this. And it's just, it's something I've been trying to figure out. And like, for me, I would think that someone like you, that you've had success and you've grown, but even still, you're not amplified the way that you should be. Does that ever bother you, that like you have so much substance, but yet you don't, at least you don't get the platform that I think you deserve?
Yeah. No, I tend to blame myself. I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. I do think I could do more work in like trying to seek opportunities. Like right now, I'm trying to get in touch with Myron Gaines to see if I can debate him on his podcast. And obviously this includes like investing in yourself, because he's in Miami. So I would have to get myself to Miami. And I have had a lot of opportunities. Like I've debated Andrew Wilson on the Whatever podcast. I've debated Pearl on Twitch. She was actually my first Twitch stream. So I think it's just, for me, it's about that consistency, and then really trying to like seize the opportunities that you get, which maybe I haven't done as well as I would have liked to.
Okay, I understand that. Well, I will say, and I was gonna hold off for a second, but since you said it, we're gonna go ahead and go there. You've capitalized on the opportunities, at least that I've seen, that you've had. And like, I was watching your debate with Andrew Wilson. First and foremost, what made you want to debate him? Because like every time, first I see his face, and his face makes my flesh crawl, right? And yeah, like he looks like a greasy little troll. And I've interacted with him twice. One time I didn't know who he was.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he
I want to see the clip.
Well, he used to do the thing where he would like have like a fake profile picture or whatever, and go into random TikTok lives to debate people. And this was like when I had first started. I wasn't debating, I was just talking to people, right? And so like I was sitting there, I had my phone, no microphone, no nothing, just sitting there talking, right? And so like he came in, and it was just a whole thing. The second time, it was I was on someone else's panel, and like I knew who he was, from the sense of like, it was like, oh yeah, he posted this and on his YouTube review, and so I demolished him. But what made you actually want to engage and debate him, and what do you think that you really learned and gained from that experience?
So it was Brian who reached out to me through Instagram, and I think he saw, that trend, women in male fields. I did a couple of those videos, and he commented on one and then reached out to me through Instagram DMs. And so originally it was, do you want to be in our dating game? And I said, sure, yeah, let's do that. And then a couple weeks later, he asked if I wanted to do a one-on-one with Andrew. And I was really hesitant at first, because I had seen Dean and Parker debate him. And from my insight, like, he was really bad faith. Just constant, like, Dean, define every word of your sentence, which I can understand. Definitions are great when you're doing a concept, but gets to a point where you just can't reduce the definition down anymore. And he was asking him to do that. And then Brian's like, well, I think, in this atmosphere, he'll be a lot more good faith. Here's the time frames I'm thinking of. So I'm like, okay, I can do a 3-hour debate with him. And my insight, like, there's just always things that you can't hear, like, you can't expect. And there's just things you won't have insight to. And I learned a lot from going on the Whatever podcast, because, and that really is also insight into the manosphere, because it is about clip farming. It is about rage baiting. what was agreed to be a 3-hour debate. I think Brian stalled 90 minutes to get his platform riled up that I had like dipped out or was freaking out. And then I ended up debating him for over 7 hours. We were supposed to be done at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and I don't think we got done until 11:30.
Did you say 7 hours?
Yeah, and I was there for 90 minutes before that, so I was there over 9 hours. And I had to say, like, are we done? Like, I'm tired. What are we doing? And it felt like he was trying to get me to crash out. And he's like, oh, you're rage quitting, you're running. I'm like, no, you told me 3 hours. It's been almost 3 times that amount. Like, are you going to end it? What are we doing, my guy?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah. The atmosphere was really weird. Like before we went live, they're like asking me to pick crystals to like have in front of me. I'm like, I don't care about this. Like, what are we doing? Are we going on? Like, so, and then, you know, as Brian is a moderator, like, of course he's not going to moderate Andrew. So Andrew's going to steamroll. He's not going to answer questions. Like there's just things that you won't be able to get around. And so I really got insight in like understanding these are your surroundings and there's just things that you won't be able to control.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always been kind of hesitant as far as engaging with people that I don't think is good faith. Right. And I know it's necessary at times to step into different arenas and spaces where you are someone that has the minority opinion and understanding like how that's going to be as far as a contentious back and forth. But it seems like when you enter those type of spaces, you do extremely well. Is that something that you thrive on or seek out? Like, what is that about?
See, I'm not like extremely happy with my performance on the Whatever podcast. I wish I would have been more myself. I wish I would have been a bigger bitch. But you know, you're going into a platform that's not yours. And so I think at that point you want to be on your best behavior because you don't want to get kicked. And so then you're taking on a lot of emotional labor that you shouldn't be. So you know, again, it's hindsight. If I would have gone on there and been the bitch that I am, would I be mad and being like, I should have been more well behaved because now I got kicked off and that was embarrassing? Like, how can you really know like what the best strategy is? Like, so after watching more episodes, like I do think I did the best with what I had, but I would love to do it again.
Yeah. I think that like there's always those times we look back and we say like, oh, we could have done this, we could have done that. And I think it's more so of us being harder on ourselves than what reality really was. But I think that especially I thought that you did a good job, but then hearing the additional conditions that were surrounded, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like I would have lost it. And so the fact that, you know, you engaged in the way that you did, I thought that was awesome. So I got a couple more questions. I know like we had a little bit of a cutout and that slowed us down. And how much time do you have left? Because I know originally I was like an hour.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, perfect.
However much time you're willing to give.
Perfect. All right, guys. So we're going to continue this conversation with Kenzie, but I need everyone to do all the wonderful things, please. First and foremost, can we knock out the daily gift goal, right? It's the little chili peppers. But if we can continue to knock out the gift goal, it'll boost the live. It'll push us out to the FYP. It'll get more people in here. We need to get more eyes on this conversation. But the more important thing is let's make sure that we're appreciating Kenzie. Let's make sure we're taking care of Kenzie. Let's show Kenzie some love. Let's get her coins up. She's almost already at 4,000 coins. So let's go ahead and get her over 5,000 coins. Please and thank you. But Kenzie's pay links are running in the poll. So make sure you are hitting Kenzie's pay links. Show Kenzie some love. Please, guys. When I invite people into our space to do the brunch with my creator, they don't have to give us any of their time, their energy. We are not entitled to them, but they're willing to share with us. So please, please, please make sure you're taking care of the people that are here. And today we got Kenzie. So I want to kind of roll this forward because taking a look at where we are today, right? I have this conversation often, right? Where I say like women today have less rights than they did 10 years ago. And you also see a push from the right, they're looking to like reduce women as far as like restricting their right to vote, right? Some of them have flat out said that, oh, we need to go back to like one voting household. But then others, like, the president is saying like, hey, we need to pass the Save America Act, which would overwhelmingly disenfranchise like millions of women. What do you think about our women in our current society, and what do you think that men can do to help like advocate and protect in whatever way to ensure that women are not being taken backwards, but trying to help them move forward?
It's a good question. I think it's really kind of interesting that they're doing all these efforts to really oppress women, because then they obviously recognize the power that we have within society. Because if you don't want women's voices to be heard, if you don't want women's participation, then you're showing that that participation has meaningful impact on outcomes. So I really hope women do take that as like, wow, I do have a lot of power. I do have a lot of input on how society operates. For men to support women, I think it really does start with yourself, which is kind of deconstructing your own idea of gender and your own idea of masculinity. And really kind of liberating yourself from your own gender prescriptions that you have that really harm you. That's where I would say men would need to start, because I do think that obviously patriarchy harms men as well, to where they cut off emotional parts of themselves, like Bell Hooks has stated. And so men stopping doing that and really connecting with women as human beings and as people, I think is a great starting point.
Yeah, you say that, but a lot of men have a hard time with connecting and dealing with women as humans, right? Like
No,
we struggle, us men, we struggle with the entire process of just like even looking at women as human, as people. One thing that gets me all the time, and I try to call it out every time that I can, because it's a simple, easy fix. It's a small thing to me, but so many men struggle with, like, instead of calling a woman, they call them a female, right?
Mhm.
How do you deal with the types of uh, not just misogyny in as a whole, but just like the backhanded, sly little cheap pot shots or whatever that tend to come across, especially when you're going to get a condescending man in your space that's trying to engage with you, but for some reason he thinks that you're lesser than. Like, how do you deal with that?
Just much energy. And I have no problem like humiliating them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it's kind of a kink for me, is to really make them feel inferior.
Yeah, I love that, because like the thing is, a lot of men can't really deal with that. But what's funny? I say they can't deal with that, but there's always those men that when you do that, instead of them like crashing out and leaving or whatever, they turn into like a lost puppy that comes back over and over and over, and they're always like there, and they want to continue to engage. And I think that's so interesting. But you know what? I think that speaks to like the presence that women have, especially when a woman says like, I'm not going to take your crap. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to let you know, like, this is my space. This is my place. You have to respect me. And the men that tend to try to portray as like, oh, I'm an alpha and all this other stuff, they end up coming back.
I do. It's for a while when I was debating, I would randomly like switch the background to be like therapy with a feminist, because men would start talking about their personal lives and themselves. Mm-hmm. So I do think a lot of them really do come to my platform because they are desperate to talk to women in any capacity. Even if they're getting shit on, they want attention from women. And it's kind of crazy how covertly they'll start like almost wanting that emotional therapy and that labor from women because they're so desperate for it.
Yeah, I think that men as a whole, like, we understand, right? I mean, for any man to say that they don't appreciate women, it's just a lack of reality. Because whether you talk about, you know, your mother who brought you into this world, who has been like the caregiver, like the life bringer, things along those lines, or if you are in, you know, a relationship with a woman, or if you are even friends with a woman, like women bring so many different levels of positivity into your life. And so for any man to pretend like they don't understand that, like, stop it. So I know that's why they come back. They can't outwardly say it, but they can't leave it alone. And that's what I see a lot.
For me, the biggest red flag for a man, it like hurts me so much, is when they say like men and women can't be friends. Is like, I don't know what, as a man, you don't think like you could connect with a woman that's else like that's just strictly sexual. Like, to me, it makes no sense. Like, a person is a person, and there are things personality wise and compatibility wise that you absolutely can connect with women on. And I just don't understand like why men don't want, or I mean, they do, but obviously like they dehumanize this into just like, I don't know like how candid I can be, but just into like sex dolls.
I was about to say, as candid as you want to be. Like, this is, we're good.
But I maybe I can ask you this question. It's been really interesting kind of for me talking about the idea of privilege, oppression, and then just kind of what a basic standard is, because so many men tell me women have the privilege in relationships with other women of being vulnerable, of being emotional, where men don't have that. And that's oppressing us, that we can't connect with other men the same way that women connect with other women. And I have a hard time calling that privilege, because I just think that's like a natural part of human experience. Like, yes, I do realize that as a woman, my relationships with other women are very much something that I cherish and who have made me who I am. And I would feel really bad for people who don't have that. And I do think men don't have those kind of relationships with their friends. But I don't know if that's like oppressive.
Yeah. So what I'll say about that is, when you start to talk about privilege, I can understand why someone would try to call it privilege. I agree with you, right? It's a basic human function, right? Because it's not every situation where, like, as a man, I can't connect with any of my male friends on that emotional level and be vulnerable and things like that. But it's all society, right? It's the idea, the structure, the premise that you have to be macho, the premise that you have to stand up and be strong, and men don't cry, and all this other stuff. But all it takes is one man to like say, hey, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be that way. Like, it's okay. You can be emotional. Hey, let me tell you what my therapist shared with me, right? And I think that's something that we as men have to not only deal with, but learn from women, right? And I talk often about like the EQ of women versus men. And men love to call women like emotional, because they actually express and feel their emotions and then understand and deal with them, versus men who want to like try to stuff them down, and then they explode and they just come out in the most negative way. And so I think that like I said, I can kind of see why they would call it a privilege, but it just, for me, honestly, it just shows me, it speaks to why I always say like women are better than men, because more women can actually deal with those type of things where men just can't. And it should be something that's easier, but like it has to start with men taking from women as far as the example that they're giving, and then trying to apply it to ourselves.
agree. And I do feel bad that men don't have that kind of humanity within their existence. Cause I'll tell you, like the friendships with my friends just so much enrich my life and have so much meaning. Like I wish men could have that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, don't feel too bad. It's a choice. It's a choice because at any point, like, you know, you can just like not do it, right? Just like actually lean into being a better person. So there's that. All right. So
I'm sorry, Sean. Should I have said I pity men? Or maybe that would be better phrasing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to shift gears again because I think that was so interesting, like what we just talked about. But it kind of speaks to who you are, right? The fact that you can go in so many directions, so many lanes. You have a lot of knowledge. You can be empathetic. You can be very firm. Like you can be funny. You have the ability
Oh
to
my
like
God,
change.
funny. That's my favorite. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd
You have the
rather be
ability.
called ugly than not funny.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You can change gears so quickly, and a lot of people don't have the ability to do that, which I think that's super important. But not everyone wants to change gears. Some people just like leaning into this aspect or that aspect or whatever. Um, what do you like to actually do, like specifically debating, right? Or conversations? What's your favorite
Oh,
debate
I
or
love
conversation or
debating.
whatever to have?
Debating, oh, my favorite. I mean, it changes. I really do like the wage gap because it is very data based. And I think that is a litmus test to also people's perspective and interpretation on how things work. So I really like a database conversation. But I also really like a very broad conversation on gender. Like Sean and I talk about gender theory all the time. And it, like how that relates to your personality and how much that shapes you, because being a woman is very like central and firm to when I think about what my identity is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, even talking about race and how that functions and how that even like holds hand with other aspects of your identity, like being a Black man, how that has shaped your identity and how that feels center in your experience. So I like theory conversations and I really like data conversations as well.
Mm. I do as well. I think for me more so, and people will like give me a hard time about it. But I tend to, whenever I'm debating, I try to force people to engage with humanity, right? I think a lot of people like to disassociate reality and like personal life and experiences in order to be able to justify some of the things that they say or do or things like that. And like even when I have the conversation with people, and you know how it is, they come in, well, I want to talk about transgenders, and I'm like, okay, let's take a whole step back. Tell me about how many transgender people do you know? Right? Let's actually make this personal. Let's humanize this. Or they come in and it's a guy and like, oh, abortion. I'm like, okay, wait. How many uteruses do you have? What's your uteri count? But there are certain people who want to engage because they can escape from the reality of something that's not actually impacting them and talk about other things versus talking about real life. How do you ensure? Because again, certain men, their favorite things to talk about is gender, is abortion. How do you actually engage with those type of people who aren't looking to see the humanity in you, but just looking to, I guess, win a debate or stand on some type of belief that they have no actual evidence for, just faith?
I think that's kind of a case by case basis. Like I've also, have you debated Phil Bros at all?
Yeah, I make them crash out because like
Yeah.
they they always want to do the like the hypotheticals and the laying it out, and I will force them into reality. I'm like, no, we have real world examples. Let's talk about the real world stuff.
So I think it's really interesting that with like the Philbro community, they specifically debate abortion. They really don't branch out on much else. You might get a couple of them debating like trans issues, but really like the center of it is abortion, and they're all dudes. And so I really have kind of come to the conclusion that this is almost another sect of the manosphere, or and I think a lot of them are incels too, where it really is like another way for them to intellectualize like women's existence, to where now I'm going to try and intellectually dominate women and control their bodies because of all these other things I'm feeling when it comes to my own gender. So I definitely treat a Philbro differently than someone who I think is very like hyper religious and has been indoctrinated just to like not critically think about concepts. And then really like also depending on their attitude as well. So for me, it's kind of like a chess match. You're really evaluating your op and then kind of deciding which lane you're going to go in. So I wish I had a more cookie cutter answer, but
no, I mean, that makes sense, right? And I guess so for me, like I try to ensure that I'm not debating people with things that like don't actually directly impact me, right? Because I think it's just so disingenuous for me to have a debate about abortions when, like, yes, it can affect me, my wife, and I want to have kids, and you know, that conversation or things may come up or whatever, but like I wouldn't be the one going through the process of either carrying and having a child or having to have an abortion. And so I think it's like hypocritical of me to talk to another man about like abortion when neither one of us are going to be the ones that are directly impacted by it, whether it's the overturning of Roe, whether it's like the actual attack on women that certain southern states or red states have openly engaged in. So that's something that I try to stay away from, and it bothers me. I do want to know though, have you heard my counter offer for abortion to men?
I feel like I've heard you say it once, but I don't know if I could steal man it.
Mandatory vasectomies.
Oh yeah. Yes. 100%.
Listen, I throw this out to them all the time, right? Mandatory vasectomies. It's safe, effective, fast. It's a outpatient procedure. You can go today's Sunday. They can go have an abortion today, and then by Tuesday they can be back in the gym hooping. Right? It's something that's reversible up to 5 years. In typical at the same level for 5 years. After 5 years, it starts to slightly reduce. They can freeze sperm prior to the actual procedure. It's something that it allows us to address the root cause of the issue, right? Because they always say, well, abortion is murder and we need to like not do that. And I'm like, okay, well, instead of waiting for the actual issue to show up, how about we stop it from even starting, right? And you address that with men, and especially if you're willing to regulate women's body and put in like a nationwide abortion ban when you know that you're talking about healthcare, then we can just do this with men. And it always makes them lose their shit, and they can never square the circle, right? They can never square the circle because one, they don't have a justification for saying no, right? They'll say, well, no, you got to be able to have kids. Well, yeah, well, it's reversible, and you can freeze your sperm. But, like you're, but abortion. I'm like, well, no, don't worry about abortion. We're talking about men. Like, if you address this, then you don't even have to worry about abortion. And I always, Kenzie, I'll hit them with a little side. I would say, hey, women, right? Women. If we do this, we don't even have to worry about the women. It's not even a women's decision anymore. We can just take care of it. And it always makes them like crash out. And finally they just like, right?
Absolutely. I use the argument that pregnancy, like unplanned pregnancy, is 100% men's fault. Because they always say women have a causal obligation to sustain pregnancy. Well, do they? Like, did they cause the pregnancy? Or was it because some man couldn't keep his DNA to himself?
Yeah. Like,
how do we determine cause? And so, yeah, no, I'm right. I would even take it a step further and say that they would have to turn in their DNA to also like the federal system, so that if there's ever like DNA in rape cases, now we have a larger federal base.
Listen, I try to give them this option because, one, it shows how hypocritical a lot of people are when it comes to abortion, in the sense that they don't really care about it. They just want to talk about it, or they just want to control women's bodies. Because, like, logically speaking, if this was such a huge thing for you, because they'll say, oh, more babies have died due to abortion than people died in the Holocaust. Like, if this was something that was really that important to you, then you would be willing to hear an actual logical solution that would stop all these babies from dying. But it gets back to two parts of a question I have. One, why are men so fascinated with actually just controlling women's bodies? And two, well, answer that one first. Go ahead.
So I think this is actually like the crux of patriarchy, because if we're going to talk about like a supreme authority, like patriarchy is about male authority and domination. And I think, you know, with the insistence of male supremacy, there's also been an age-old envy of women. And it really comes down to womb envy, because if we look at, like, you know, men always say men build society, like everything around you is created by a man. Okay, well, that's cute. Women built humanity. And if you look at any kind of like fascistic regime, they're going to have control of women's bodies, because reproduction is essential to the continuation of the human species. And when it comes to reproductive labor, women hold the majority, the overwhelming majority, 99.9%. So, and I think this really comes down to the idea of they never ask themselves, like, what should be the ultimate authority? If women hold the overwhelming power on reproduction, is it really women's will then that should be the ultimate authority? Because they never ask themselves, why don't we create a society where women want to have children? Because if we're in a society where women don't want to have children, to me, that shows that we're in a failing society. So all of it comes down to women's authority. Women pick what they call the alpha male. Oh, so women choose the best men. That sounds like women's authority. Women choose when they want to have children, if they have a good partner. That sounds like, is this really, like, obviously then the supreme divine authority? And that crushes the patriarchal idea that at the center of human existence, women's will is the ultimate authority.
No, I agree with that. And it really, it's interesting where men will place the blame on women, but then at the same time say that, like, oh, we should be leaders and you have to follow us. Well, the reason why I can't, you know, engage with a woman is because they only want the alpha males. But you know what? I'm the leader. You have to listen to me. Right. And so it's super interesting. But so it ties into the second part of the question. Do you remember your favorite crash out? Like, is there anyone that you've actually debated? Because the reason why I gave that example is not only to talk about how men, we want to control women, and it's so weird the way we go about it. But a lot of times when I tell people or tell men about this, a lot of times they just crash completely out. And I know for a fact that men crash out on women way more because they can't handle a woman actually being able to beat them in a debate or dominate them in a conversation or anything. So what have you seen, and do you have a favorite crash out that you can recall?
I actually want to say that this is on my page is a debate clip. There was one guy I was talking about sex work with. And, you know, when men talk a lot about sex work, there's slut shaming, there's, you know, degradation, there's upholding of rape culture. I just asked him a simple question, you know, like, who is purchasing the product for sex work? And he refused to answer. And I just kept asking over, like, okay, well, are you going to answer? Like this is just like an A or B answer. You know, it's either men or women. Like, who's the purchaser? And then eventually it turned into like almost like a self-admittance. He's like, I'm not the problem. So he's pretty much admitting that he purchases either corn or OF or whatever. And then eventually it led to him crashing out and threatening violence and rape on me. So that was a really just asking the simple question, who's the purchaser of sex work? Because all these guys will constantly talk about OF and how much like women don't have to do much and they can make millions of dollars, but they don't recognize that when it comes to subscribers, there are 82 subscribers to every one creator on OF. Like that's how disproportionate it is when it comes to men consuming the content versus women producing the content.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that men always point to, again, the problem without actually acknowledging like we're the ones that's generating the actual quote unquote problem. All right. So I have like 2 more questions, but then Kenzie, if you're up for it, we're going to start bringing people up for the Q&A portion. So good with that?
Yeah.
All right, perfect, guys. So if you have a question for Kenzie, then go ahead and get in the request. We're going to start bringing people in just a moment. So please go ahead and hop up here. When you get here, when we bring you in, please make sure that you have a question for Kenzie. If you do not have a direct question for Kenzie, you will be dropped. I will say that again. If you do not have a question for Kenzie and you get up here, you will be dropped. Sorry. You can't hang out with us. That's not what we're doing. Please be ready with the question. And also, if you're on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and you want to come up and you have a question for Kenzie, all you have to do is click that link. I'll drop the link again in the chat. You don't have to leave the app that you're on. All you have to do is click the link and you can come up. And if you have a question, we'll get you in and you can go ahead and get your question over to Kenzie. So you don't even have to come over to TikTok. All right, Kenzie. So you are a part of a wonderful group who has made a decision to continue to try to expand the digital vanguard that is CADRE, right? And so I know with CADRE, I know what you guys are about and what you're trying to do, but you all specifically have individual roles. What is your individual role within CADRE and what's your responsibility for pushing the group forward?
So my lane is really central to around feminism, and I think my target audience is white women, especially cis white women, because when it comes even to the idea of feminism, if we're going to look at it through an intersectional lens, like obviously there's going to be different ideas and experiences when it comes to sexism, and white women obviously experience racial privilege while also navigating gender marginalization. So I think there is a really unique tension to where our social or political power can be utilized to uplift all women. And I really want my education to be centered around that. White women have a responsibility to deconstruct their race in order to really amplify and exemplify feminism in an effective manner. And then even as cis women as well, like really moving away from feminism as a bioessentialism concept, which I like as a cis woman, I have been decentered from my gender. Like, I don't know how cis women come to this conclusion that being female is enough to be considered a woman, because I am female and it's not enough. That's what gender is. That's what misogyny is you are experience hate and hostility for not adhering to patriarchal gender ideas. And being female is not enough. You have to be attractive, you have to be polite, you have to be submissive, you have to be compliant. Like, and so I think also really decentering the idea of bioessentialism from feminism is essential to moving forward as well.
Yeah, and so I heard you talking about that, and it's funny. I think that's something that's super necessary, especially in the sense of so many people don't understand like intersectionality, and while you have certain access to privileges, or you may be marginalized or harmed in other way, a lot of people have issues with dealing with the privilege that they do have. And so hearing you talk about that was something I was like, absolutely, that's something that's necessary. And it's something that's necessary for all of us. And so I think that's a great thing. I think that the group as a whole, it's always interesting to me when I start to look at the breakdown and the dynamics of CADRE and how you all complement each other and how you all have a section like, you know, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And it's unique and it's necessary. So when I heard what your role was, I was like, I like that. I like that. Okay.
Well, thank you. I really am hopeful that there is a space in the online community for that, because it is something that I see missing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. So I have one more question. I see people are lining up now. I know there was a couple of people that hopped over on, I think it was either Twitch or YouTube. I don't know if you guys were having issues or if you got stage fright, but if you want to hop back in, you can come in. I will get people up from YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram first, just because of how the platform is. So if you want to come up on that side, or if you want to get up here quicker, you can always come through the links for YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram. Last question I have for you, Kenzie. And I'm sorry. Also, guys, make sure we're showing Kenzie some love. Well, her coins are at 5.1 thousand. Come on, guys. Chat, we can do better. Let's go ahead and get it up to 6,000 coins. Come on. Make sure that we're taking care of Kenzie. Make sure that we're showing Kenzie some love. Tap the screen, share the live, hit the follow, do all the wonderful things. All right, Kenzie. So the question that I have for you, and to kind of wrap this up before I bring other people in, something I've noticed about you is that you actually I've been calling you multifaceted in a lot of different ways, but you seem like you have some type of acting background. Like, I've watched your videos and you seem like you have some acting chops. And I say that as someone who, like, I was a theater kid growing up, you know, I was in a bunch of plays, musicals, all this other stuff. And I've watched multiple videos and like, I've seen you actually, and I'm like, you have to have some type of acting chops, the narrations that you do with your videos, like the different ideas. Do you have some type of formal training, informal practice? Like, where does that come from?
So I was an athlete all through my childhood, all through high school, and I really didn't get into art until high school. That's actually why I have this tattoo here. It's the word create with a watercolor background. Because I think the thing that will most connect yourself to like the human experience is to create whatever that is. If that's art, if that's machinery, you know, just create something because it's an expression of yourself. So I always have been creative and always have had an artistic side to me. And I think now I just have a medium to express it in. But no, I don't have any formal acting.
That is so interesting because, like I said, I mean, I've actually I was going through your videos when I was trying to put. What did you think of the video?
I thought it was great. No, I can tell you spent a lot of time on it. Thank you so much. Well, I am a woman, so maybe my whole life has just been a fake performance. Like,
no. I enjoy doing that, but even more so, like, it gives me the opportunity to like deep dive other people's content. And like I said, I noticed the difference between yours and anyone else's content that I've tried to like pick through in order to put together something, whatever. And it was just something that I was like, yeah, you had to have had some type of like professional training, and so that's amazing. You're really good at it.
Thank you. I have been so humbled and flattered by the response I've gotten from my video. It was just on a whim. I'm like, how could I introduce myself as a feminist? Oh, let's do it like it's like a dating tape, and you know, let's do like the deadpan humor. And yeah, I mean, I even went to Ross and bought that jacket and got those big like 90s earrings. So
yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely. That was fun to create.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start bringing people in. I'm bringing in Manders over on YouTube. Manders, hey Manders, how are you?
Hi Santana, I'm great. How are you?
Good. Manders, what question do you have for Kenzie?
Kenzie, first of all, thank you for coming and speaking today. This has been awesome. My question for you is because I need some help. Um, my husband is great in every aspect except the patriarchy. When it comes to the patriarchy, he is super fragile. So I need advice. What can I say? What can I do to get this man on my side when it comes to the patriarchy?
That's a tough question. Does he read?
Not anything that matters, but if you have some book suggestions, I will send them to him.
So I like always have a joke on my platform that I love when men read to me. If you can like incentivize him, like I'm not gonna, give you X, Y, or Z until you read to me. Maybe that'll get me in the mood. I would definitely recommend bell hooks. So maybe before sexy time, tell him, to really get me in the mood, read me a chapter of bell hooks aloud. Or dump his ass. I mean, I know those are two extremes, but those would be my two advice. It's up to you if you want to invest that labor.
Manders, you're muted. I don't know if you noticed that you muted yourself. I will. Yeah, it said that you muted yourself. Manders, I don't know if they know how to take themselves off mute. All right, I'll go ahead and drop you down. Thank you. Thank you for coming up and with your question over on actually Twitch. I thought you came from YouTube, but they came from Twitch. If you are over on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and you have a question, you can come up. There is no line over there, but there is a line over on TikTok. So if you want to fast track it, you can go over to the other side. We're going to go ahead and start bringing people in on this side. Mander said that they lost access, but they were able to hear you. So.
Oh, okay, great.
All right. All right. Hi. What question do you have for Kenzie?
Hi. So I actually don't know. I think this is the right platform to ask. So my family is very blue dot and red state. We live in Tennessee. And so my son is 10, very blonde hair, blue eyed, very, white. He expressed recently that, with everything going on with all the news, and of course I, listen to Parker, listen to Dean, listen to you, Santana. I don't remember the exact words he used, but it was kind of like being ashamed of being who he is. And I want to raise him, I guess, to be a, feminist. And he's very, into social justice. If he sees something wrong, he calls it out. But I don't ever want to raise him in a way that's going to make him ashamed of himself, if that makes sense. And I just don't know kind of where to turn on that.
Can you tell me what aspects he's ashamed of?
He mentioned, like I said, I don't remember the exact words he used, but basically that it seems like white men are just the problem. And granted, fair, but he's 10,
So, very hesitant to like give advice when it comes to like raising children, because I think every child is unique, and I'm not a trained therapist. So please take this with a grain of salt. I also have a son who is white, and we are in a predominantly white conservative area. I am raising my son agendered, so I don't hold any gender prescriptions to him. Whenever we go to the store, we walk down all aisles. I tell him there's no such thing as girl things or boy things. There's just things. But I also think it is important to have conversations with children, especially when it comes to aspects of privilege. And whiteness is an aspect of it. So me and my son have had conversations about what race is, what whiteness is, and how that affects other people around. So that's where I would steer you more towards is really getting books just on the privileged aspects of his identity, and then showing how that, obviously with child appropriate language, how that impacts himself, and then how that impacts other people.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a little bit part of the problem. He's very smart and very advanced for his age, and he always has been. And he's also very evidence focused. And so he notices everything and he hears everything and he figures things out, and he's figured this out on his own. And I've had conversations with him regarding, privilege and things like that. But I think that I could go into it probably more in depth with him.
Yeah, so that's just a general direction I would steer you in. Obviously, I think anyone can benefit from therapy. So if he's really having feelings of despair, I would recommend a professional. I'm certainly not.
Yeah, and I don't think it's despair yet, but I think it, as he gets older, might lead that way, and I don't want that to, happen. So
no, like I'm very scared for what patriarchy is going to do to my son. So
yeah, and I worry that there might be, a generation of kids in the same boat, kind of growing up seeing and being ashamed. And I don't think that, white pride is not at all what I'm getting at, but I just don't want them to like feel like they can't make a difference because they are in this, body that they have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you, and best of
Thank
luck
you.
with your son.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to continue to get people up. If you have a question for Kenzie, this is the time. Go ahead and hop up here. If you have a question for Kenzie, this is the time. If you're over on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and you want to get a question to Kenzie, you do not have to leave where you are. All you have to do is click that link and you can speak with Kenzie. All right. Hi. What question do you have for Kenzie?
What's up, Santana? Big fan of you. Here's my question for Kenzie. What can I tell my girlfriend to become as empowered and confident as you are? She struggles with confidence and I want to help her.
Confidence, I think, is a real individual thing. What might bring me confidence, like I know what brings me confidence is personal achievement as well as knowledge. What brings her confidence might be something else. And so I would just recommend exploring that with her. If it's, her feeling, I really don't like to talk about love languages too much because I don't think there's a lot of evidence backed in them, but I think we all respond to aspects of love language. So if that's words of affirmation for her, telling her like, I support you, you're smart, you're brilliant, all these things, really finding out what is the foundation of her confidence and then coming up with a strategy to boost that is really kind of the best general advice I can give.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we have a couples therapy plan too as well.
Oh, good. No, that's great. I think, WU.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think you answered it pretty well.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, guys. And like I said, while Kenzie is here, do the wonderful things. Kenzie is almost at 6.5K coins. Let's go ahead and get Kenzie over 7K coins. Guys, please. 572 people still hanging out here. Show Kenzie some love. Make sure that you are hitting that follow button. Let's get Kenzie's coins up. And also hit the pay links. Kenzie, has anyone sent you anything? Because I haven't heard you say thank you.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I do want to say thank you to April. April has Cash App me. That was very generous of you. Thank you so much.
Okay, but only April. Chat, lock the fuck in. What are we doing? Make sure that we're showing Kenzie some love. Hit the pay links. If you're confused about where they are, just click that poll up in the corner and show Kenzie some love. Please, and thank you. Jen said that they Venmo'd you.
Yeah. The notifications do come on my phones. Maybe I should pull up my email. Maybe I have missed them. I'm sorry.
All right, we're gonna get the next person in here. Again, if you have a question for Kenzie, go ahead and request up.
Tracy, thank you so much. Laura, thank you so much. Jenny, yes, I have missed quite a few. I'm so sorry, guys.
Listen, I was about to be mad. I was about to be hot.
Star, thank you, Star.
I was about to be pissed.
Bad
My
Kenzie.
conditions are failing me.
Bad Kenzie.
Hey, Ari.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Hi, friends.
So
what do you have for Kenzie?
I have two questions for Kenzie. One, how many times have you watched Jennifer's Body without me? Secondly,
I watch it manually, okay?
secondly, Kenzie, feminists like Kenzie have showed me, even as a Black woman, what intersectional feminism is. What is your favorite recommendation starter book for baby feminists or for women who are unpacking their relationship with patriarchy?
It's so tough because there's so many good ones. And then it also like really depends on reading level, which I don't say that to be like condescending, because Bell Hooks' Margin to Center took me forever to read, because it is a high level reading book, and I struggled with it. I really like Kate Mann's Down Girl. I think that really gets into the concept of misogyny, and I think that's a really strong place to start. But I also do love Bell Hooks' All About Love and the Will to Change, which I think are more emotionally based. So depending, if you're more of an analytical person, I would recommend Kate Mann. If you're more of an emotional, heartfelt person, I would recommend Bell Hooks.
All right, thank you. W conversation. I'll see y'all later.
Thank you, Ari. All right. And it looks like okay, they dropped out. Guys, if there's anyone else, we'll do last call for alcohol, because there was a couple of people. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if people are unintentionally dropping or whatever, but people have kind of cycled in and out over on YouTube. So I'll put the call out one more time. If there's anyone else over on YouTube that wants to get up and get a question in, go ahead and request up. I'll try to, like, again, I don't know if it's an issue with people not being able to hold these. I don't know what's going on, but go ahead and get up here. Hi, what question do you have for Kenzie?
Hey guys, I had a question, Kenzie, as like a white man who's trying to dismantle both like patriarchy and racism. Do you have something that would, like, a book that we should like start with for ourselves, that's more like helping us to like understand? Yes, it is, Shorn. To really understand like the impact and where to start with that specifically, that is coming from, like, I don't know if that makes sense exactly. Maybe I'm not wording it precisely, but.
So more like deconstructing masculinity?
Yeah, to a certain extent, but then also like specifically the patriarchal norms and expectations. I don't know if there's like even the Christian rhetoric behind it as well, how it's based, some of it can be based on that and as well.
Man, you're gonna make me go to my bookshelf.
Sorry.
There's just so many. I would recommend Who Cooked the Last Supper is a really good one. This talks about the rise of like patriarchal religion and kind of how gender was constructed more before like prevalent civilization. Invisible Woman is really good too. I think when we look at history and we look at data, since men write history and data, a lot of women's contributions or input is excluded. This one is a really thick book, and it's got tons of stuff in there. I would definitely recommend that one. Mother Tongue was also really good because it talks a lot about language and how that impacts people, and then also different cultures too. I really like that one.
Perfect. I'm so sorry, Kenzie. I missed the second one. What was that one?
Invisible Woman.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
If you're looking for like a wide literature, I also recommend Verso books. They're a leftist publishing company. You can get their subscription for $10 a month, and they give you access to all ebooks they publish, which is like 10 to 15 a month. They do have a lot of Marxist, but also a lot of feminist stuff. I guess it also depends like what you're interested in reading. The Politics of Radical Care was very good because that talks a lot about like women's domestic labor and the care that's provided to society and how that is really an essential aspect, but honestly one of the lowest paid jobs within our society. So I guess it depends what, but these will probably take you a while to reply.
Awesome. Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks so much, guys.
Perfect. Thank you.
I should have pulled all my books. Damn.
I love how you guys always have like the books at the ready, not just like the recommendation, but you go grab them like, hey, boom, right here.
Oh God, I was on the phone, or I was doing content with Sean and Jeff, and Sean's like, do y'all have a piece of paper close by? And then she pulls out a composition notebook, and I pull up a legal pad, and then Jeff's got a notebook, and I'm like, what nerds are we that we have like paper within hand's reach? The Sisterhood of the Bonobos is a really good one if you want to talk about sexual violence as well as how other species structure. And then Bodies Under Siege, I really liked. That talked about fascism and how taking control of women's bodies, like I said earlier, is the basis of any fascist ideology. Like, you have to control women in order for fascism to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Joanna, what question do you have for Kenzie?
Good afternoon, y'all. So real quick, I have asked this.
But go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I just wanted to comment on the knowing the American history part, but still coming to America. There's no way that you know American history and know what America has done to Black people in America and still see this place as land of the free, home of the brave. At some point, I feel like
Back that.
Who gave this person a phone? I am very much into makeup and skincare, so I do recommend the Medicube line. That is what I do. My skincare routine is super bougie, is super extensive. So I won't give you all the details on that, but I'm very much into, cleansing, toning, maintenance. I probably spend close to like 30 minutes a day putting stuff on my face, no pause. And then my favorite form of self-care is facials and massages. Like, if I ever reached a level of like economic success where I could get a facial and massage every day, my life would be complete. Like, that just seems like heaven to me.
Much
appreciated every week.
And we know, like, the makeup can be great, but if the skin underneath the makeup isn't also giving what it needs to, then the makeup ain't gonna sit right. So we do know that. And I do love Medicube, the PDRN. I'm into it. I like the masks. The cleanser's great. So yeah, much appreciated. Also,
sure.
Everybody in the chat, since Santana's screen's green.
I was gonna ask if the screen's green for you too.
Can you guys still? You can't hear me? Okay.
We can hear you
but
now.
I can't see you.
But we can't see you.
That's weird. Because like I know, like I'm looking at the actual. I have my phone up, and so I can see myself. I can see you guys, but for some reason through Studio it's frozen. So I don't know what just happened. But we're good. We're good. It still looks normal for everyone else. Anyway, Joanna, thank you so much.
Thank you. And y'all keep doing everything that you're doing. We do want to hear Kenzie say thank you for some more donos now that she has her email pulled up and she can see them all at the same time. We appreciate the taps and the likes and the shares. If y'all have missed anything, this has been another great Brunch with My Creator. The replays are on YouTube. So go look over there. If you haven't followed everywhere, follow there as well. And if you ain't following Kenzie already, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to get your life together.
Thank you so much. And thank you, chat, and all the donors. You guys are so very generous. Like, I'm truly so touched.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Gotcha.
You're back now. I can see you.
Say it again.
I can see you now.
You can? It's weird. It's still frozen on my side, but I'm looking directly at my phone. So, and then like I'm looking at YouTube and Twitch, like, oh no, Twitch is frozen. That's what it is. I don't know. It had to be something with Twitch. Anyway, all right, we'll keep it going. All right. Boom.
Hey, Santana. Hey, Kenzie.
Hello. What question do you have for Kenzie?
Yeah, so can I do a quick anecdote? Just like a couple seconds one? Not from my own life? Well,
that's literally up to Kenzie.
Okay, appreciate it. So a friend of ours, or rather a parent of one of our son's friends, had an experience where, so they have a son that's 10, same age as the future, aka my 10-year-old son. But their, I want to say 16-year-old son came to his mother, who was, definitely follows feminist theory and is, I believe, an excellent parent. And the 16-year-old son was like, "Do you hate all men?" And this is after just watching some YouTube videos. So the specific question is there a way to avoid that trap of a child falling into the manosphere without banning YouTube entirely?
Myself that question as well, and how I'm going to approach manosphere content with my own child. And no, I don't think you can avoid it without banning it. And even if you do ban it, you're at school for how many hours a day? They're going to have access to friends who have access to it. So at this point, I just think it's unavoidable. I very much feel I am parenting against society. Like, patriarchy is so ingrained in society that he gets it from his friends regardless. And he's going to.
Yeah, fair. And then so I as a parent of a young boy, I just have to tell people one of the most important. So first of all, critical thinking, educate on critical thinking, and then teach your young children consent. I mean, young, teach them consent. They need to understand the spectrum of consent. And I think that will help in the future, hopefully. And thank you so much, Kenzie. And thanks for having this platform, Santana.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah. Relationship and parenting questions stress me out because
you do so well with it though. Yeah.
No, I'm not an expert. Like, please, if you feel like your relationship and your child need care, like, please go to a professional. I am not a professional.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we are going to call it here because, like, the interesting thing that no one else can see except me, all of my screens are frozen. Like, I am flying right off of my phone, which is right here in front of me. I know my phone. The only reason I know that we are still here is because I can hear you and I can see you, but I have no idea why all of my screens are frozen. So I don't know if we have other people over on
2
YouTube.
hours. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So this is what I want to do, because I do want to kind of round it off and get back to one thing. When I realized the people that I was going to have on and how we were going to do this, I thought it would be an actual banger to have a lineup of women going through March for Women's History Month. And like last week, Ari was amazing. This week, you have been amazing. And next week, we're going to have Swan. And I just think this represents like the basis of what excellence is, right? And the fact that women on this app, in this social media sphere and in life period, are the ones that are actually bringing not only substance, but like elevating what we should be doing. And so I've been so happy and satisfied with not only the conversations that I've been able to have, but to be able to amplify the voices that I feel like are so important. And your voice is one of those voices. And so I just say all that to say thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah, no, listen, it's been great and it's been funny, and I've learned like a lot that I didn't know. And so I appreciate you sharing that. But I want to give you the floor tell the people, what do you have going on? Anything that you have next? Anything they need to be aware of? Anything you want to like plug? What do you got?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I just launched my website, which is Her Villain Arc. It has a quick little biography about me if you want to learn a little bit more about that. I also am selling, currently I have 2 products in my merch store. One is actually a hashtag KM crop hoodie. On the back, it says it's the only body count that matters. And then the other one is for my brand, MILF. And then the best way to support me is subscribing through my website. I do have subscription options through TikTok, Twitch, as well as Substack. But if you subscribe through my website, it's $5 a month. It's less than all of those other subscriptions. And you get access to the Discord, which means you get access to all of my content that you would get through any of those other streaming platforms. So I'm really trying to cut out the middleman and grow a grassroots audience, because I've noticed like a lot of people who are popular on Twitch or whatever are now kind of beholden to these other companies when it comes to maintaining their platform, and I don't want to have that. So if you go there, subscribe there, that's the best way to support me and really try and help me achieve my goal of becoming a full-time creator. I'm also launching the Painting the Roses Red podcast. That'll be every Friday, live streamed on Twitch and TikTok at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And then you can always catch the replays if you're a subscriber. So those are the 2 best ways to support me. Check out the website as well as check out my new podcast.
All right. Perfect. Well, Kenzie, again, thank you so much for coming and spending
Thank
time with us.
you.
I know we went over.
You
but I
were
appreciate you so much.
self-watcher for a long time. And then I remember the first time you finally requested, I'm like, oh, I made it. Santana wants to come in.
I have no idea what you're talking. No. You're a rock star, and I just appreciate you giving me any of your time. Genuinely, I appreciate.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll have to debate together more. Maybe we can do it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye, y'all.
Guys, massive W's in the chat for Kenzie. I need to see what I can see. I need to see W's going. Listen. I'm going to show you guys something really quickly because I just want you guys to see this. All right. This is the screen that I've been working off of. This is how long the screen has been frozen. This is the other screen. I have no idea what's happening right now. None. I am shocked that it's still going because I don't know why it's frozen. And so I don't even know, like I can't even click the button to end the live. Someone said reboot. I don't know if I'll lose you guys or not, but like we got to try something. All right. Yeah. All right. Hold on. Am I still here? I can see that I'm still here and you guys can still see me. I see you. You see me seeing you. Let's see what happens. I don't know what's going on right now. You see me seeing you. Let's see what happens. I don't know what's going on right now.
Bonbons, if you ever need wound care, we got it. If you ever need Wonder Dust, we have it. But this is what we go through on a daily basis. Do you have a vet that donates care? Unfortunately, we don't. Because we live in a very rural area, guys. So a lot of we use farmers. So farmers are working for every penny. So we don't have big corporations around here. We have small mom and pop places, which in hindsight works in everybody's benefit, right? And Lisa, and thank you so much. We have officially hit 12,000 orders on TikTok, guys. This has been absolutely incredible. This is one of our, this is driving up our driveway in the beginning. We have about 350 acres of land. And thank you guys, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we would be having so much success because of you guys on TikTok. That is, from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank y'all enough. What we get to do because you guys believe in us is an absolute dream come true. These animals live on their best days because of you guys. And that is something I will cherish for the rest of my life. And we're going to do this for the duration of our life. We're going to save as many of these guys as possible. And maybe one day we could branch out Peanuts Freedom Farm to other states. Stephen, I hate you so much. Branch to other states and allow us to continue to do what we do here on a larger scale. And it is such a blessing, and everything in between. So I just want to say thank you, guys. We have sold 200 products to 62 of you guys. We have officially reached our 12,000th order on TikTok, which is an absolute fucking blessing. So before I go, Redward and I just want to say thank you for one last time. And so is lovely Danny in here because we have to go start making more products because you guys cleaned us out in the last 3 days.
You guys are so amazing.
So
thank you so much.
Oh, bye, Redward. So we do have a website. It is peanutsfreedomfarm.com. You could check us out on Google. We are a 501(c) non-for-profit. So if you do want to make a monetary contribution, you can, and you will get the tax write-offs for your tax season. But again, at the end of the day, we cannot thank you guys enough. There's so much more to our story coming. Cuz, what's going on? But that's what this is all about. The more money we raise, the more animals we continue to save. So from my family to yours, we cannot thank you guys enough for the love and support.
You guys are the best.
We will be back on tomorrow at noon to continue to help save animals. Christy, thank you so much for always being on here. That is 12,002 orders. And Greg, thank you so much for the 12,000 likes.
Thank you, Greg, for liking.
Do not forget, before we go, don't forget to give us a follow. It's greatly appreciated.
Don't forget to write reviews if you like our products.
5-star, please.
Yeah, don't do less.
We love y'all. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for
It's causing food insecurity. At home, kids are coming to school more and more hungry. Like, it just becomes a cycle, a whole cycle. Wow. But the company I work for, they're a private company, and they supported this entire program with the help of the Bucks. And like, it's just been a blessing being able to teach our young people all different types of like tech. And then their capstone project is dope because what they end up doing is taking 3 problems that the actual company faces in like 3 ways of how we can actually fix this problem. And like, they get to present. If they make it, they go present on a national level. They get to travel. I'm all on their idea, and they learn about biometrics. They've learned about AI. They've learned about currency and capitalism, socialism, how data transfers, Raspberry Pis, if you know what that is, if you're in tech. Anywho, I can talk about
table, let the world know. Brunch with my creator, can you see? It's the human side of the Grab a plate, take a sip, and let's unwind. Tell me what's really on your mind.
Guys, I appreciate each and every one of you, especially you guys that are still here for some reason. Like, I'm shocked that there's actually people still here. It's wild, but you guys are still here. So, since you're still here, I wanted to make sure I gave you guys the outro, proper outro that you deserve. Thank you. Thank you all for hanging out today. Thank you all for being here. Guys, this week coming up is going to be a little bit different. I will be traveling. I'll let you guys know what's happening. Anyway, gotta get out of here. Guys, thank you. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for all the gifts, the taps, likes, the shares. Thank you for all being here, listening, and showing Kenzie some love. I love you guys so much, so very much. I will see you all later. And as always, peace.
We laugh about the comments, the wild DMs, talk about